is Gigi Sabat, and you're listening to the Walk With Me podcast. My guest today is Paul MacFarlane. Welcome to the show, Paul.
Thank you. It's always good to be with this column of bright, divine, happy light that is inside a being with the name of Gigi.
I love it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Paul MacFarlane is a business strategist. Again, welcome to the show, Paul. Can you tell us a little bit more about you and where are you from, Paul?
Oh, where I'm from, that's a matter of discussion. Because my previous existence, I may have been pure consciousness just buzzing around the universe. But my body is located in the St. Louis area. My mind and heart is on a beautiful section of the Herrengracht in Amsterdam. But what do I do? And what do I get paid money for? What do I do to this world? Well, I'm a business strategist and also a creative branding expert. But what I do, everything I do comes from one single place. It's what I call bringing the best of humanity forward. I bring it, hence the bringing. I have some role to play in bringing something forward. And the best of humanity? Well, make it up for yourself. Is it love? Is it goodwill? Is it kindness? Is it wealth? Is it prosperity? Is it laughter? Whatever. And why forward? Because if you pay attention to your social media feed and news, if it bleeds, it leads, and there isn't enough of that goodness in the forefront, so I bring it forward for any business. In like 5 minutes, I ask a business, what do you do? What do you want? Boom, a multi-million dollar idea comes, sometimes $1 billion idea. That's what I do.
I love it. Now, recently, you and I both spoke at the Peace Vigil. Paul, what does peace mean to you?
Well, peace means a lot of things to me. In fact, I still have an acrylic peace symbol that I bought in a hippy dippy store in 1970. It broke once and I put it together. But peace to me means several things. First, it's a state of being really one with everything. In a sense, and when you're in that one with everything, that you feel a deep harmony. All is well. See, all is well. Everything is as it should be. That's very peaceful. But I always say, people who look for peace, they're usually focused on some conflict, a war, physical and sorrow and carnage and horror. But remember, the peace that we want in the world has to be present in and begin inside of us. Because if I have a war inside me, I'll manifest it somewhere in the world. And if I'm filled with peace, I will radiate it and attract it.
I love it. Very powerful statement. Peace must begin with inside of you. Very powerful. Now, tell us a little bit more about some of the challenges that you had to overcome in your life, Paul.
Oh, my goodness, challenges. Well, good word, challenges, because I don't never believe in failure. I believe in everything as a learning and a growth opportunity. But sometimes those learning and growth opportunities may hurt a little bit. They may make me stuck at a certain point. They may hit a wall and I have to go somewhere else. So, well, believe it or not, I grew up in a family where there was no love between mom and dad, and there was a lot of anger and violence, and that was the model I knew, right? So, and when I got married the first time, I married a very deeply unhappy person, and I was not the person then that you see before you now. I didn't value myself enough, and I suffered a lot because I was trying to make peace where peace was not an option. And for 13 and a half years, I suffered. And I created it, and I tolerated it, because in this life, you only get what you tolerate, and I tolerated it. And I grew from there, from every relationship I was in. From there, I asked the universe for someone kind, and I got someone who was kind. But as I grew, I became far too interesting and bizarre for them. So now I asked for someone who was this and that. And then I realized I got that, but didn't get everything I wanted. So it increased my sensitivity that I'm the creator of my own life. I don't blame situations on other people. It's up to me, right? If it's to be. So I started doing kind of a thing like, if I can get it here. Yeah, it's right where you can't see it, but you need to see it. Sound effects. Woohoo! I made a thing like this for my ideal woman, but this is my ideal client.
Okay, let me zoom.
Yeah. See, in the center, you put your ideal client or whatever, and then you put all the qualities you're looking for. And I leave a couple blank because, something can change. And I did the same thing for my ideal woman. I had all the qualities, but I did not describe physical appearance. Although, I had things like being fit and, liking to ride bicycles, which kind of tells you something. And the power of that, when I realized my power as a creator and to overcome obstacles, was to look at that I had on a regular basis and do two things. First, believe that she was coming to me, and as I was coming to her, believing with all my heart that this person existed, even though I couldn't really see a face. And then for super extra ninja VIP power, I sent all the love I could possibly send this person, even though they didn't exist physically in my life yet. I didn't know who she was, and boom, they appear. Now, they haven't always been ideal, but I just realized I can play with my creativity to ask for what I want in this life, radiate it from my powerful broadcasting center of my mind, and attract it. So, obstacles of depression, yeah. Obstacles of loneliness, obstacle of being with very unhappy people, miserable, depressed people. I realized, again, I attract it, I tolerate it, and I don't wish anyone ill. There's some people in life, one or two only, that I hope I never see again because unless they've changed fundamentally, I just don't need to be in their space. But instead, I attract and attract more and more people the way I like it to be. Like I was in a place 2 days ago. It doesn't matter where the place is, but it was a place you would never, ever, ever expect to find a metalhead guitarist in a white van in a parking lot driving cross country. And as I walked by, I shouted out a song. He said, "Well, I'm not sure I can play. Can you?" I said, "Yes, I could." And I got into his van and got his electric guitar. We were wailing and doing this stuff, and I got a video of it. So it's something that I would find enjoyable and fun, and I can attract it out of anywhere. So obstacles are learning and growth opportunities. And luckily, every obstacle I've had, I've found the ability to learn what did I need to learn, find out what was my state of my mind that attracted it, and how to change that. Some of them in the beginning took a long time to learn, but now I learn them much quicker.
I love it. Very powerful statement. Now, let's talk about depression because you mentioned depression here. Let's circle back to it for a moment. What
Okay.
message do you have for someone who has depression?
Hmm. I do think mental health in general should be radically normalized and casualized in our society instead of being kind of a scary thing where people have to hide and you can't talk about it. I think we should talk about mental health as easily as talking about our favorite food or being hungry. So, one time I heard something about depression that was defined as follows: the depression was anger turned inward. Ooh, that's kind of interesting if you think about it because there have been times in my life where I was so depressed, I actually considered suicide. I really did. I thought about it. What would be the best way to do it that wouldn't inconvenience anybody? That was my biggest concern at the time. I couldn't find a way that wouldn't inconvenience someone. But it's what happens when your worldview just gets smaller and smaller until the pain is all you see, and you want to do anything to make that pain go away. Well, I'll tell you how I got out of that. There was a small voice inside of me that said, "No, life is beautiful." But I went to visit a person who, when I was a child, was sort of the cool priest in our Catholic parish. And he was in a different parish. And I had this big piece of paper written of a pyramid of my beliefs, my foundational beliefs, and things at the top are like, "Oh, I don't like when people throw cigarette butts out of the car window." And he looked at it and he said, "Turn it upside down." And it's like, "Oh, wow, thank you for getting the lid off of that jar for me so easily." And it was just literally like a door open. I went through it, and I've never felt like that again.
Wow. Incredible. You said life is beautiful. Very
Yeah.
powerful statement. Paul, what is your best advice to the audience for walking with purpose and living a life of happiness?
Well, let's talk about the difference between desire and gratitude. All right. We all know a child at Christmas. who breaks through his board with the toy that night. They've been wanting to get it, and then now what? And we know adults like that where nothing is ever enough. They have to buy a new car twice a year, all those sort of things. Well, the thing about desire, it's in the Bhagavad Gita, they says it's one of the most dangerous things to feel desire and to feel attached to the fruit of your labors. But I think desire, does a tree desire to bloom? Maybe. It's just natural. But desire is rarely sustainable. However, gratitude is. For instance, I have a giant map of Amsterdam here. I have a small map of Amsterdam here. I have a scarf from the Johan Cruyff Arena behind me. Am I physically in Amsterdam yet? Nope. Nope. But when I choose to celebrate and feel gratitude for the desire in the first place, how cool it is, and the times I've visited there and think, oh, I'm going to live here someday, and my gratitude for being able to experience it, and the gratitude of the feeling of the sound of the bicycles and the sound of the people talking, the smell of the local food, and just everything, feeling that sweep of history that I want to be part of, and being grateful for my senses having that. Well, guess what? Gratitude and desire. Gratitude, I'm here. Gratitude, this is my life. Gratitude, this is still my life, and all the things I'm still taking gratitude. Gratitude is sustainable.
That's true. Very powerful talk on gratitude there. And as far as what you mentioned there, not physically being there, but you still felt as though you were there. It reminds me of my virtual tour of Jerusalem, and I felt like I was there, right? Mind, body, soul, and spirit, allowing yourself to be there.
Oh yeah. Well, sometimes when I'm a road cyclist, right? And here is not the Netherlands as far as biking, but oftentimes when I ride, I laugh and giggle and I pretend I'm there. I look at street signs and things as if they're written in Dutch and pronounce them as if they're Dutch, even though they're not. It's kind of Looney Tunes to some people, but it feels so fun, because well, what if I check out of this world in 3 days? Oh, you didn't make it. Oh, yes, I did. Oh, yes, I did.
I love it. Very powerful. Paul,
Mm.
thanks for being a guest on the Walk With Me podcast. Where can the audience find you, Paul?
Well, they can find me at thepaulmacfarlane.com, which explains pretty much my business. But if someone reads my bio, if you start reading my bio and you think, am I reading science fiction? Well, maybe so, but you keep reading. And from there, it's got links to my Facebook, my LinkedIn, TikTok, and I have an enormous social footprint. I'm easy to find.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to follow Paul on all of his social media platforms and also his website. That's the PAUL. And then MacFarlane is MacFarlane.com. And Paul, thank you again for being a guest on the Walk With Me podcast. You have a blessed day.
Yeah, absolutely.